So usually when it comes to band names, their origin stories are either incredible or shit. Which is it for the Boy Detective? Where did it come from?
I mean, Benny knows a little bit more because it's like from Nick's brain back when they started. But there's like a book called The Boy Detective Fails that Benny knows a lot more about. But I know the name just came from that. I think it's just a book that him and Nick were really into. Nick is so well read. It honestly surprises me most of the time, like the steel trap of a brain he has. And he's got like this log on his phone of just like errant thoughts and quotes and names of things. But Benny knows more specifically why they chose The Boy Detective. I don't even know the author of the book. I'm such a like noob.
So the book is called The Boy Detective Fails. It's by Joe Mano. He is an author out of Chicago. So basically, Nick and I are both readers. Like, we love reading. Nick will like read 12 books while I read one, but still, he's been very, very kind to me. And he basically, because of the band, because of the band, Nick and me kind of have a book club where like he'll suggest certain books that he knows I will really, really like, because he really likes rom-coms when it comes to books he reads, and I really like horror books.
Yeah.
So he'll come across one every once in a while and be like, "Hey, Benny, you should read this." And every time he's right. He has not steered me wrong, but he won't tell me the books that like he doesn't like. I'm sure he's read 10 and he's given me one.
Yeah.
So one of the books he suggested was called The Boy Detective Fails, and he said it's one of my top 5. And I'm like, okay, for somebody who has read, basically think of those old libraries somebody would have in their house at this point.
Yeah.
For him to say a top 5 is pretty incredible. I want to read this book. So basically, I'll give you a really quick synopsis of this book. This book is an incredible story about how when we were young, we used to read like the Nancy Drews and the all those like old detective
boys.
The kids, but they're kid detectives, right? Hey, we're
Babysitter's Club.
We're going to solve the crime of the missing PB&J, and it's like, oh, okay, whatever. Well, this is a story about if those kids were in real life and they had to solve adult crimes, but they're kids, and the community expects them to solve these crimes. And then like there's huge like I'm not only a lead singer, but I'm a funeral director by trade, embalmer, and then also I'm getting my license to become a social worker so I can do therapy on top of be a death doula, funeral director, embalmer. Everything for me is great. So one of the beautiful things is, so these kids have to deal with these very adult trauma that happens. I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to ruin the book for anybody. But this book is so incredible because even the villains are like a kid villain, but they're doing these adult things. So it's like really unique how he mastered the story. And on top of that, there's a secret encoder ring that you have to use, and there's secret words in the book. And then there's like a whole like the book itself is just this incredible like bring you back to being a kid, but also like now I'm going to mess your mind up with all this trauma that these kids have to deal with, like including like suicidality and addiction and all this kind of stuff that like kids should never have to deal with. So anyways, we love this book so much. Him and I were spitting out names. One was Grandpa. There was a thought to become Grandpa with an exclamation mark because we really like exclamation marks, apparently.
I wouldn't have joined
that. There was thought of Grandpa and then come on with an exclamation mark, like comma. And it was like all these things, but then like he read that book, I read that book, and I was like, he's like, what if we just did The Boy Detective? And I'm like, I love that so much because it's so much the reality of our band too, where it's like there's these adult tropes that we deal with, but also we're just a bunch of children in our band, that pretend to be dads and pretend to have these big boy jobs and big girl jobs, but like we get on stage and we become 12-year-olds again, and it's an absolute blast.
Love that.